All right, what's going on, guys? gdoggcasey here with a new video. It's been a while since I've made a video, and especially a video like this, but I've been really feeling Football Manager 21 this year, and in my kind of off time, I've been playing quite a lot because I've just been having a ton of fun with it, and I've actually been making much more progress than I've ever done in the game before. Now, I still have a ton to learn, and there's still a lot that I don't know, and a lot that I probably think I know, but I don't. A lot of misconceptions and kind of assumptions that I make about how the game works that's probably incorrect. Okay, so you've probably read the title of the video, and I need to get this out of the way as I am not a expert at this game. In fact, I think I'm like just barely average. But this is kind of supporting the reason why I wanted to make this video, okay? Because if you're looking for super expert tips on very specific scenarios or specific types of situations that you need to be paying attention to, like scouting or tactics or team building, then there's going to be professional videos on YouTube that you can go to for those specific topics. But this video is going to be focused on just generally getting somebody who is relatively new to management style games like this, maybe relatively new to soccer, or just they've tried Football Manager but they've struggled with it. Or maybe you're thinking about trying Football Manager but you're worried that you're going to struggle with it. So just a brief rundown of my history of Football Manager. I've tested the game. I can't even remember the first one that I actually tried. It might have been FM like 13 or 15, maybe something like that. But the first one that I actually got into was FM20, and that was where I completed my first season, and I started realizing like I could start to get this game and start to get better at it. And then when FM21 came out, I pretty much dove in. Like I already have over 300 hours in this game, which probably is low to some of the FM experts, but for me, that's a large number. So, I've been diving in, and things have been working out. I just want to show you. I'm not trying to brag, and honestly, because I don't think what I've done is really that special. But it just goes to show that things have been going pretty well for me. So we picked up, I think it was in the 2020 season, Sky Bet League 1. We went up. In my first season, we won the league. And then in the next season in Sky Bet Championship, we finished 7th. We were supposed to get relegated that season, but we finished 7th, which was one spot out of a playoff spot, by the way. In the following season, we came first place. And now in the current season, we are in the Premier League, and we're literally sitting in 6th place right here. We have pulled off some major upsets, a 4-1 victory against Man United. We have 2 wins in a row against Tottenham. We did get blown out by Man City. A close 2-1 defeat to Liverpool. Like, my team is actually competitive in the Premier League, even though we were supposed to avoid relegation, or fight bravely against relegation. Where is it? Right here. Like, we're doing very well. So this is not to brag, but it's to show you that with the system that I've kind of put together, I've been able to make it work. And I would say that I am actually optimistic that I have a chance at one day winning the Champions League. And if I ever do, you guys will hear about it. But how do you do it, right? And how do you play this game as somebody who just started, and somebody who's trying to figure things out as they go? And when it comes to management games, like sports management games in general, I think FM does it better than any other in terms of trying its best to streamline things for you so that you can take part in whatever you want, right? One screen you're going to want to get familiar with is the staff responsibility screen, where you can easily fine tune what you manage and what the staff manages behind your back. And actually right here, I'm already realizing some things here that I don't want set up this way, which I'll have to do on my own. But this is just also solidifying, like, there's going to be mistakes. Some of the things I tell you that have been working for me are probably not going to be actually fully optimal. But it's the beauty of this game. It doesn't have to be 100% optimal. As soon as you get to the point where you're making the 100% optimal decision in every aspect of FM21, that is when you are like, the game is going to become easy, I believe. So, and maybe that's what you're looking for, but the journey to get there is just as fun, and if not even more fun, because when you're not exactly sure what's going to happen, it helps you to get invested and excited over the good moments that do happen. So, okay, I'm a pretty rambly guy. I'm going to try to keep this, try to keep it on course here. So, what is the first thing you should do when you get into FM21 or 20 or whatever game you're playing? You got to pick a team, and this is a very important step, right? I chose Peterborough FC, and I chose them literally because I live in a town called Peterborough in Ontario, in Canada. This is Peterborough in England, I think. Yeah. So the only thing that is similar is the name. So I picked them. I had no idea what I was getting into, but I think I got very, very lucky. And if you honestly have no idea who to pick Peterborough, because I think they're a prime example of a team that you want to start as. Why? Because they start off in the Sky Bet League One, and when you first pick them, they're scheduled to finish the season in 6th place. So they're a reasonably good team. They're supposed to have a reasonably good year. And you're not at any major disadvantage when you start. Okay? So it doesn't have to be Peterborough. You can find a league that you like, that you've heard of, and that you want to participate in. And you can look for a team that is projected to finish probably within the top 5 or maybe the top 10, right? You can even go with the team predicted to finish first. But I think that takes some of the challenge out, so it's up to you. But the main point is to pick a team that is scheduled to do reasonably well, so that you can win a couple games and you can not feel like you're just falling apart right from the start, okay? As a new player, once you start to get better at the game, then you start to look for those teams that look like they're falling apart and you fix them. And that's the fun, that you can have fun doing that. Another reason why Peterborough was a good option is that they were financially stable. Right now, my finances are vastly different to what they were when I started. But we can see here, they were right around the 4 million mark, right? Which is stable. And that means you can do things like request coaching badges, or you can request, more scouts. And it just means you're not falling apart financially, which a lot of teams actually are right at the start. And it's not impossible to fix that situation, but it's hard. And you're giving yourself more things to struggle over, which maybe you want. But if you're following my advice, you'll pick a team that's financially stable, just as your first team, so that you're not trying to figure out financial troubles within your first ever season. Once you've done that, and one other thing that was really good about Peterborough specifically, which maybe you can do a bit of research and find something like this on your team that you pick, but they came with this man. Where is he? Where is my man? There he is. They came with this dude, Ricky Jade Jones, real player, real person. I think when I started, he was like 17 years old. He was a full 5-star potential. And look at this, man. This guy, it's his first season in the Premier League. He's got 13 goals and 16 appearances. He's dominating the league here. He's fantastic, and he's literally 21 years old. He's actually my striker for life. So I got really lucky here. But this is not the reason why I'm doing well, because I remember several specific moments where I passed up on good strikers because I knew I already had one. But, so I could have had another striker as good as this guy, but I passed up on them because I already had him. Look at this, 19 pace, 18 acceleration. He's getting 15 finishing. This guy is just fantastic. He's one of my favorite players I've ever seen in this game. Actually, my favorite player. So look for a team that has like a really good rookie in their youth system, and at least in the next 4 or 5 years you'll have a good player. But that's the least important when you're picking your team. I just wanted to show off that I got really lucky with this guy, and now 4 years later he's leading my team in the Premier League. Okay, so on to the actual gameplay loop, right? When you're learning the game, there's going to be some things that stand out to you that you feel like you can understand, and there's going to be some things that you just have no clue. You just don't understand, and you don't even want to learn it right away. And this is where FM does a great job, in my opinion. There's 1 or 2 aspects of the game that I feel is very important that you take manual control of. And as long as you take manual control of these 2 probably, aspects of Football Manager and you start to figure them out, then you can go from there, and at whatever point you can expand. But as long as these two things you manually do at the beginning and as you continue through your career, you'll set yourself up with a good foundation and you'll probably do well. That is the first thing. Filling your staff. So if you've looked up YouTube videos on FM, you'll find lots of people saying this is important, right? Manually fill your staff positions. Now, the reason is because all the information in this game is provided to you by your staff. And all you can do is make decisions based on the information you have. So you really want to make sure that the information you're getting is as accurate as possible. And if you have a shitty head coach or assistant coach and they're telling you this player is good, but you can't trust them because their stats are just awful, then you're going to have, you don't know if you're making the right decisions, right? And you're never going to get somebody who is perfect. Look, this is my assistant coach. His player ability stats are actually not even that good. This guy is not a permanent member of my team. I'm going to replace him at some point with a better coach. But for now, his judging player ability and potential are good enough that I can reasonably trust it, right? And then some of these other staff members are going to have their stats here as well. And you notice that whatever staff you are looking at, it highlights which abilities are important for them. Now, of course, some of these other abilities are important too. Determination, adaptability, and depending on how you use a specific staff member, even some of the other ones might be important. Look at this guy's goalkeeping is bad, right? So this guy, he's going to be replaced. The reason why I say that you should take control over your staff is because if you let the computer manage your staff, they will make silly decisions and they will not improve your staff. I've seen them, and I just realized now because I was trying to figure out, like, some of my staff members have been auto renewed on their contract, and I didn't even realize, like, over here that I actually have staff responsibilities set to do that. So what happens if one of the coaches I started with is kind of shitty, but my staff keeps, renewing his contract and I don't know about it. So I'm just continually paying a shitty coach that I could have improved and I could have replaced with a better coach. And as long as you're continuing to improve your staff, and that is everybody, right? So I'm not talking about just coaches, but your performance analyst, your general manager, your scouts, your physio, your chief doctor, all of these things should be they should be as good as they can be. And as long as you're continually keeping your staff roles filled with as good a member as possible and upgrading them each time you can, I feel like the rest of it will start to come together. Look at this. I'm in the Premier League. I haven't really done we just looked at a couple coaches I have that are kind of shitty, right? One of my goalkeeping coaches is shitty, which is probably why my average coaching is below average. But look at the rest of this. Just from trying generally to upgrade my staff and keep them as high as possible, my staff is generally better than a lot of the Premier League, and I'm like one of the least paid teams in the entire league. One other important thing with staff, don't forget about these buttons down here, under 23 and under 18. You want to make sure these are filled too. One of the most important things, look at how good my coaching is. Look at this. I didn't even notice that. My coaches at under 18 are fantastic. That might even be overkill, to be honest. And under 23, I'm like the best coaching in the entire English division. This is amazing. That's what this means, right? Yeah, best Peterborough. So, yeah, I have the best youth coaching staff in the entire league. And what that means is I can trust that my youth players are getting the training they need. I can trust that I'm being told that they have the right abilities. I can trust when I go to tactics and I do quick pick that they're generally picking the right players, and then I can, tweak it however I want. But I trust my coaching staff, and this is really the thing I'm trying to get at. As long as you can get familiar with the coaching window, the staff window, and familiar with how to find good staff members, just reasonable. They don't have to be the best. They just have to be reasonable. You have to do this yourself because the computer will not do a good job, and this is how you're going to get an edge. So this is important. And just to quickly go over it, there's two ways I think that you can find staff. Let's say one of these were empty. I was looking for a fitness coach. You go to staff search, you go to edit search, you clear whatever you have here. If it's already cleared, don't worry about it. Go to staff role, pick coaching, fitness coach. I always go to not employed. It's cheaper to get a fitness coach that's not employed. Any reputation doesn't matter. Then for attributes, you click on pick, highlight key attributes for role. We go to coach, we go to fitness, and then you can pick one. Let's just do overall to keep it simple. And then you have this, it's telling you motivating, determination, discipline, and fitness are all important. So, okay, we filtered that. Any coaches with 15 or higher? No, we'll go down a couple ticks. Okay, one person found, two people found. Okay, so we want to look at this guy. Look at these stats, man. 19 or 20 adaptability. Like, these guys are both pretty good. They're both pretty good. Hard to pick one. I'd say maybe this top guy, Paulo Moro. Click on him. You go to contract, approach to sign. For me right now, I could sign this guy. They'll probably block it because I'm already full on staff, right? But they're not denying him. Like, I could afford to pay him. So if I really needed this guy, I can, negotiate a little bit, bring us down and suggest terms and hopefully sign him. And if I do, then I just got myself a pretty good fitness coach. Like, this guy's fantastic. I probably should sign him, but who knows? Like, what I'm doing right now is just waiting for my contracts to expire, and then I replace with whoever's best. Okay. The second way, and maybe the more streamlined way, but it's a little bit more difficult to find those really good coaches, is to wherever you need help, right? There's going to be a little hole here. You'll know that you have room for a coach. Click here and click on place advert. It's not letting me do it now because I'm full, but if any of these were free, if I had a spot anywhere, it would allow me to place advert for that type of coach. And in a few days, I'm going to get an email with a bunch of coaches. Because another thing that can happen is when you're a low league team or you're not a very well-known team, a lot of the good coaches, they won't sign for you, right? They don't care. You can't pay them enough, or they don't want to play for you or coach for you. So you place an advert, and then you will only get people that will accept your payments and accept your offers. And then you just pick from the best of them and just get started. As long as you're doing that, I feel strongly that you're setting yourself up for success. Okay, so that's a lot. The coaching is really, really, really important. And I feel like if you get this set up, then at least you can trust all the information you're getting. You can also delegate almost anything you want. When you come back to responsibility screen, at this point, when you know you can trust your staff, you can delegate whatever you want. You can delegate training, you can delegate scouting, you can delegate your entire tactics, you can delegate I don't think you can delegate match day coaching, but what I'm saying is you can delegate contracts, you can delegate everything, and as long as your staff is good, you can trust that they're making decent decisions, then you'll move forward, I believe. Okay, so I just want to reiterate once again how important that is, and as long as you're doing this manually, then I feel like you'll set yourself up for success. All right, so once your staff is set up and you're happy with what you've done there, and you can start to trust what your coaches and your scouts and everyone around you is telling you, then from here, you take that and you move on to the next most important aspect of Football Manager, which is either creating a tactic or building a team. And the two of them are probably equal in importance, but it's very interesting how they kind of play off each other, because you kind of have some options here. When you first pick a team and you've set up all your coaches and you're happy with what you've got there, you can then look into what tactics might work for that type of team. And if you trust your coaches, you can come over to the tactics screen. I'm going to use this one here because I don't actually ever use it in game. And you can create a clean slate. Or, hold on, what am I trying to do here? There's an option where you can recommend or have your team recommend a tactic. Okay, so I found it here. So what you'll do, if you don't have these all set up already, see, I currently have 3 tactics set up. I only ever use this one, to be honest. You can tell in the familiarity. But if you have a clean slate here, then you'll just click clean slate. And when you go to edit the tactic, you'll have something like this come up where you can pick the tactical style. And if you don't see, this is for me, when I first got into FM, I really didn't know anything about soccer and how tactics are set up. I had no idea. The only things I kind of understood was like a 4-4-2 formation, and the way that the formations kind of work, I sort of understood that. But I didn't know the difference between a fullback and a wingback, or a Mazzala, or like, you know, the difference between a poacher and a target man. Like, I had no clue. And I still, to this day, I'm still learning. And this is where the fun is like, as I continue to play, I learn a little bit more about tactics, and, you know, I can start to do more things deliberately. But when you don't know anything about it, you can come here and you get these little thumbs up where your coaches think that these are the particular styles that fit the squad you have. Okay? So if you have no idea about tactics, then you can come in here and you can just pick one that sounds good. Okay? Gegenpress is pretty much like universally decided as one of the best styles right now, so you just pick that one. But even if you pick route 1 or pick something else, go with it. You trust your coaches, just go with it to start. Choose the formation from here, pick one. You know, you can just pick the one your coach recommends. If you have literally no idea, just do that. Just get into it, because the more, if you know, labor over this and you try to figure it out and you do it all by yourself, first of all, that's fun, and you can do it that way, by the way. But if you are feeling intimidated by that, and that seems like too much, or if you've done it a couple times and it's failed heavily because you have no idea what you're doing, then just come in here and pick one like this, okay? This is a pretty common formation. You can go with this, it's fine. It gives you the roles as well that could work, right? So when you go in, now you click quick pick, and it puts the best players that are already on your team in this type of formation. I can already tell things are not perfect. My Schmodix here plays attacking mid center fielder, but I don't have a very good attacking mid center fielder right now because I've been building my team around this tactic. So if I quick pick here, we see my stars are a little bit stronger because my team that I've built is built for this tactic, which pretty much is exactly what I'm trying to say here. So you have two options. You take the team you have and you build a tactic around it, like I've just done here. You just let the coaches do it, and you quick pick, and then if you really like this tactic, you go with it, right? Try it out for a bit. If you like it, you stick with it. And then what you do is, when you're scouting, you scout for players that will fit that tactic. And it's relatively easy to do this. So when you come into scouting, you go to assignments, okay? You find a scout, or actually you don't even have to find a particular scout. You can just create a new assignment, okay? You do player type. Now, this can get very in-depth, and I'm not the right one to, like, if you want a scouting training video, then you can find one specifically about scouting, okay? So I'm not going to get into that because I'm not the best at it, and probably I'm not even the right one to talk about it. But to get you started, we're going to fit the tactic that we just created, right? The Gegenpress one. So as long as they fit this tactic, you can pick a position, right? And you can have them scout for it. You can also, like, this one uses a pressing forward. You can go here, the advanced playmaker in the middle. If you need a central defender, you can click on that and it'll tell you what's important, right? You can do that. You can also just keep it vague. Let's turn these off. And usually what I do is you pick a region, okay? At the beginning, if you're choosing a kind of low league team, you're probably not going to be able to scout different regions like this. You're just going to be stuck with whatever you have. Just do scouting range, for example. But for me, let's say I want to look in Brazil because everyone always talks about how the best players come from Brazil. So I go to region, and I'm not sure which South America it is because my geography is absolutely terrible. So this is the kind of thing you don't want to do on camera, but there you go. You just pick Brazil, and then you add a couple parameters. The best things you can add are age and potential. And if you're really in a bind and you need a player now, you can pick current, and you'll probably get some players that are a little bit better, but maybe they have less potential, but they're better for right now. If you're really in a bind for that, you can do that. Honestly, I highly recommend just going for the potential. Make sure the potential is at least superb. and make sure the age, you can set this to whatever you want, but I set my age to at most 21. Maybe I'm restricting myself a little bit too much, but this is just my own style of scouting and building my team. The only players I'm really signing are young players who will grow into be on my team. That's just the way I do it. If you want to find older players that can fit your team right away, in some cases that might actually be what you really need to do. So you can, instead of doing potential, do current. But then you click start assignment. Now I'm not going to do that because I don't actually want to support that tactic. And before I forget, I'm going to put myself back on this tactic. But this is how you will start to get these scouting reports. And as you play, you'll get these emails. And you're going to get all these scouting reports like this. I have 6 right now. Sometimes you'll have 30. Sometimes you'll have 50. And it can be quite a lot. You don't have to devote all your attention to every single scouting report you get. But you do, when you're building your team, you want to pay attention to it. So you're going to have your own philosophy for building a team. Mine is young players with high potential. You can, it might be like Ricky J. Jones gets injured and I really need a replacement. Maybe I'll start scouting for a replacement. But for now, luckily I don't have that issue going on. So I am just going to scout for young players. It looks like I'm getting some 23-year-olds. And I just determined based on the stars and based on, the position and the age, you can also click on attributes and find out where they would fit in your team. And you just decide if they're worth looking into. This guy, not really. He's 23 years old. I don't really need a winger, so I'm just going to acknowledge, okay? 26-year-old attacking midfielder. I don't really care about that. My midfield is set. I'm going to acknowledge. 22-year-old center back. Okay, so this is a perfect example. My center backs are kind of old, and actually center backs is where I'm looking to improve. 22 is a little old for me. It's always funny to talk like that, but anyway. But this guy is very good for a 22-year-old. He's already 3.5 stars. If I mouse over this, I can see he would actually take the starting position right now based on what I think he is right now. Now, he's not fully scouted. He's only 30%. So I have a general idea with my 14 and 14 scout about how good he is. It's possible he might be on the low range and he might not be as good as Frankie Kent. That's something that we have to keep in mind. So instead of just jumping the gun and signing him right away, you want to keep scouting him. Okay? If a player looks interesting, make sure you keep scouting and get them to 100% if you can. You can't always, by the way, but if you can, do it. So keep scouting is available. I'm interested in this guy, so I'm going to keep scouting. 30-year-old experienced goaltender. I actually am interested in a goaltender, but probably not one that's 30 years old, so I'm going to let this guy go. 17-year-old forward. See, like this guy, I don't have a lot of info, but if I'm really looking for a potential, like amazing 17-year-old forward, why not scout this guy? Who cares? He's on Arsenal. 20-year-old fullback. Do I need a fullback? Not really. I have some great fullbacks that are building right now, so I'll ignore. And that's it, right? And then let's say like one of those players comes and he actually looks like somebody I really want. Then you try to sign him. And if we go to scouting, I have a short list here to give you guys a bit of an example. If you can't scout a player or if you can't sign a player immediately, let's say he's contracted to Arsenal and you really like him, but Arsenal will only sell him for like $100 million. Well, you can't afford that. So just add him to the short list. When his contract runs up, you'll get a notification that his contract has run up and now you can make an offer for him. Maybe you need him, maybe you don't. But when you build a short list like this, you end up with a bank of players that are that you can look through when you're in need. This guy here, Robson, he is joining Peterborough on the 2nd of January, which is coming up. This guy is an 18-year-old, already 4-star Brazilian striker. He's capable of playing many positions. He's going to be... he is good enough to cause me to consider changing my tactic to allow for 2 strikers or to maybe try to develop him as a winger or something. I don't know. I think I'm going to go for the 2-striker idea. And have this guy play a false 9 because he has the passing and the technique and all that. So anyway, just excited about this guy and I wanted to show you. But let's say I really wanted, who cares who it is? This guy's the height. Well, he's injured. So let's say Leighton Clarkson. I really want this guy. He's on a contract till 2025. It's 2023. He looks like he'll fit my team amazingly on the wing. I already have wingers that I'm developing, so I don't really want this guy. But if I wanted him, I can try to offer him a contract You cannot, because he's accepted another... Before... What? You must have a transfer offer. All right, so make an offer. I'm dumb, sorry. Okay, so I can make an offer for this guy. Let's say I suggest terms. They say 22 million, they'll give him up. If I check my transfers, I do not have that kind of money, so I can't get him. So I shortlist him, and next time, maybe his contract runs up and I can buy him. Sometimes you're going to get players that you can't afford, and that's exactly what I've done. I've built my entire squad by just doing that, scouting a lot of players, and you want to be... I'm rambling again, and I apologize. I'm trying to wrap this up. But you want to be strict with the players you sign, which is a big mistake I have made. You'll notice when I set up a tactic that I have way more players than I need. All of these players, only this guy is loaned out to another team getting playing time. All of these players are not really getting playing time. I have way too many players. So what I'm trying to do, you'll notice a lot of them are listed for loan or listed for transfer. I'm trying to sell them off. I made a mistake because I get too attached to so many players and I just buy way too many players. But on the flip side, some benefit to doing that, buying more players than you really need, is not all of these players are panning out like I wanted. Let me give you a quick example before we wrap this up. So Reese Devine, one of my favorite signings. He did not start on the team. I got him when he was like 18 or 19. He was a 5-star potential with like 2.5-star already current ability. So I figured, you know what, as a young player like that, for $350K, I bought him. And now he's developing into a reasonably good player. As a 21-year-old 3.5-star, he can still hit 5 stars. He's trending upwards. He's starting regularly all the time. He is my key fullback. And he's still developing. He can get better and better and take me all the way to the Champions League, probably. At the exact same time, I signed this guy, and I thought it was pretty interesting because his last name is also Divine. Where is he? Where the hell? Contracted to Peterborough. He's here. I just found him. I don't know why he's not showing up in my squad. Oh, I know why. Because he's on the under 21s team. I'm stupid. Okay, under 21, yeah. Even more players, by the way. But anyway, Adam Devine. Signed him at the exact same time. Okay. And he still has hope, but he is not developing as well as Reese Devine. There's many reasons for that. One, he did not get much playing time on the starting squad because he just wasn't as good as Reese Devine. So Reese Devine got some starting time and Adam Devine didn't. I had to loan him out and he did get some, but he's not developing half as good as Reese Devine is. So this guy might not pan out. But when I first bought him, he looked like a dream youngster that I would want. And so did Reese Devine. Reese is panning out. He's turning into that dream that I wanted. Adam is not. And he might in the future, but he also might not hit his stride either, okay? And another player, there's a few players that are doing that to me. The only reason why I have any potential that's low like this is because they turned out, either they started on my team, like Sammy Smodics, or this guy, Yasser Larouchi. When I signed him, he was 5-star potential, but he ended up, I don't think I fully scouted him maybe, or I don't know what happened to him. He's not panning out. So I'm not going to re-sign him. So it kind of, it means that signing lots of players even above what you need is probably, there's an argument that that's an okay thing to do, but there is also probably a much more efficient way that you can handle this, more so than what I'm doing. But this has been working for me. I've showed you the history I've had with this team. I'm currently well within my transfer budget. I'm looking to spend this money. I'm looking for like one more bombshell player to go with Robson here that will really push me to the next level. I think it's probably going to be either a goalkeeper or a central defender to just really boost up my defense. I don't know, whatever I get my hands on. And once I get either the goalie or the central defender, then my next option is the goalie that I didn't get or the central defender that I didn't get. And you just keep doing that. And scouting keeps coming in. You keep getting new players recommended to you, and you have to start to restrict yourself and only go for the players that really will benefit your team. One issue I had before was that I would sign players that were like 4-star potential. Right now, I never do that. I only sign players that look like they're going to turn into like masterminds. And if I can get them, then great. A lot of them I can't get, but you get one here and there, and then now your team is in the Premier League. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it. It is a little bit rambly. I didn't really research anything. I didn't think that was required. The whole point of this video is to convince you that Football Manager is fun to play and it's fun to learn. And there are a couple things that I feel like are very important that you do on your own through manual management so that you can set yourself up for success. But then from there, anything you want to do, you can. You can set up scouting to be automatic. You can set up training to be automatic. I don't do automatic training, but it's like semi-automated and semi what I add to it because I've started playing with it, right? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm learning things. I did the same thing with scouting. It was on automatic for so long, but now I'm doing it myself and I'm building my team and it's turning out. You're probably not going to build an amazing, successful team your absolute first try. When I was playing FM20, I failed a couple times. I have a series on my YouTube channel with me getting fired with Sweden. IFK Ladinho, I'll never forget. But now I'm about to win I'm going to win the Champions League with this team one day. I really feel it. And if I do, like I said, you guys will find out. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry it was so long, and have a good rest of your day.